Alright, short video here highlighting this Proto 1000 RDC-3 Rock Island 9004 that I've been working on for the Wichita, Kansas show that's coming up, being hosted by the Kansas Fremo guys. This was the first locomotive that I converted to the RailPro system. This was just straight DC. Required quite a bit of extensive modification to the board that's inside. But leaving that place actually provided a good framework for the interior lighting that went in there. Lots of modifications on this. First of all, the Proto Correct glass had a slight green tint to it, not the clear stuff that comes with the model, so we got that corrected. Put some people inside of it, obviously, and some window shades in there. Further up on the model, the security bars and the RPO mail catch were missing. The security bars are just brass stock, and then I think that was a cow scale part for the mail catch. The vestibule steps on the front, you see on the rear it had the fixed steps like the later model coaches had. For whatever reason, the Rock Island modified those and went to plated those off and just put a step there for the crew. Installed the Marzite housings on the front and the rear. Of course, the front's a Marzite, the rear is just a red marker. I believe on the actual prototype, those were removable front to back. The model's just fixed. Type H couplers from Sargent Engineering. The model's close to being done other than weathering. Need a diaphragm on the rear. And then when I get around to repowering this with the Northwest Shortline motor, I forget what this is. I actually think it had to do with... I forget, but it got removed, so I'll get that milled off later. And then about 1961, which I'm running, there were red stripes up here on the top of the cab. So background is the E8 that's being worked on. But to highlight some of this, the RailPro throttle here. Of course, this thing we aren't using, it's just in sleep mode. It's never really off. It's kind of like an Apple iPhone. But it's in sleep mode, you can turn it on. Press the screen to continue. We're wanting to deal with locomotives today. Looking for the Rock Island 9004. I think first thing we're going to do is we're going to fire up the engine. The sound comes through there pretty good. This has a single, used to be called Railflyer, Phoenix Micron speaker in there. Eventually the fans on the top will get upgraded to something a bit better. Maybe some see-through grills so the sound might come through a little bit better. But it actually sounds pretty good right now. We'll get some interior lights going. Page 2 of this. But you can see the buttons on here, the soft keys. They're customizable. They come pretty standard. Front light, rear light, ditch lights and things. But of course this locomotive doesn't have a ditch light. And this rear marker light actually used to say ditch light. But these are fully customizable. We'll get into those in a second. Go to the next page here. I'm going to turn the interior lighting on. You can see the lights come on. See the people inside. One of the things I really disliked with DCC was the lighting in Kansas. And it was always a mess, because you could not go in and individually turn one on and off. But this system's great. You don't have to worry about any of that. First thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on the front light, then I'm going to turn on the Marzite, and we'll see that front light comes on, and the Marzite comes on. So it actually came out pretty nice. And on the rear, I'm going to turn the rear marker light on. And I don't know how that's showing. The screen, the video screen on this camera looks awful pink, but it is a nice red lens in there. And modify these. Of course, there's no programming track required. You could do this out of setup if you didn't like the way you had it. But you hit your tools button, and you come over here to your button pages. And if I wanted to modify this one right here, we're actually going to pull up the one that I've got designated as the rear marker. You can see if I wanted to rename that something else, I just hit the edit button text, I can change the action on it, whether it's a momentary like a horn, or if it's an on-off like a light or a bell. And you can even change what it is. Make it a sound, make this button an action, not used, or I'll make it a light, which I have. Now the output color, it changed over there. I need to come down because this was actually, this is the correct color. But when you get into function remapping, there's none of this looking for CVs or any of this other business. You just go through there, you hit the wire color coming off, that's your input, and that's it. So come back to the rear marker light, turn it on, and it's on. So we're good to go. Now while we're running, this is the thing, especially if you're running consists or if you're pulling a heavy load, it'll show your current motor, your motor current. You see as I throttle this up out of rear, you can see the motor current comes up, voltage readout, and it also gives us a temperature on whether or not our quote-unquote decoder, to use the DCC terminology, is getting too hot. If something does go wrong, right over here you'll get the typical yellow triangle with the exclamation point. But that's it. I'm going to turn some lights off here real quick, and just to highlight the lighting features on this thing. I'll have it show up. But you can see the running lights, some Mars light. Come back around to the interior cab lights. And then, rear marker's off. And there's rear marker back on. So for this model, that's currently it.